The Technique series is brought to you by Barbell Logic Online Coaching. Did you know that you can get a 100% free form check from one of our expert strength coaches? Seriously, absolutely 100% free. No credit card needed, no questions asked. Just go to barbelllogic.com/technique and sign up for the free Barbell Logic experience now. Do that right now and then enjoy the show. Hey y'all, Matt here. It's August 2020, and I wanted to give you a bit of an update before you dive into the Technique series. You know, we're quickly approaching our 5th anniversary, and at this point, we've coached over 3,000 of you. I think later in this episode, I talk about coaching 1,000, and so much has changed. And gosh, we have continued to concentrate on the stats and the metrics to see what works with our clients. We now have an unbelievable statistician that works for us, and we're able to pull the data from our clients and see what's working. We can see what the compliance rating is for our clients at 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, lifetime. We can see it for our coaches. We can see what demographics train more often or make better progress. We can have breakdowns for performance metrics so we can see what the average squat increase or the deadlift increase is going to be for really any demographic, location, North America, Europe, whatever. And it's been really just a treat. And here's the thing, we keep coming back to how important technique and consistency are for progress and PRs. It's simple as that. You know that since this podcast started, we have really developed our own theory of programming that we call the minimum effective dose concept of programming. So we do think that's important, but it absolutely is a distant second or distant third to consistency and technique. And so we wanted to focus on technique on this series. And so really with technique, very little has changed. What was an excellent squat a few years ago is still an excellent squat today. Now we've tweaked the way we teach things a bit, not in every lift. And that's mostly due to the wonderful Socratic discussions that have come out of the Coaching Academy. And where things are a bit different, I'll pop in from time to time on the podcast and I'll update you. But for the most part, what was true then is true now. And so we've just edited the podcast down from these original episodes for content, clarity, efficiency, and really continuity. So it should all flow a little bit better. There were some episodes that Scott and I should have recorded earlier on, and they kind of got thrown in later. And so here, it makes really nice chronological, systematic sense for technique. So sit back, take some notes, and let us dive into the world of barbell technique. We hope you enjoy the series.
Welcome to Barbell Logic. Rewind.
So today we wanted to talk about programming is secondary.
Yep.
And it's secondary to what, man?
Yeah, sometimes when you do a podcast, you just know it's going to be controversial.
Right.
That's not the goal. I promise it's not the goal.
Let me say what the goal is.
Yeah.
And we haven't even talked about what the goal is.
Yeah.
I would say that the goal is to tell somebody that's on week 3 of linear progression, and they're seeing they're very interested in strength training now, and they're on the internet, and they're looking at stuff, and they're seeing many, many, many messages about how you approach this stuff. Most of these messages, by the way, are for more advanced lifters than most of the people that are actually trying this sport for the first time.
Yeah.
And so this is for them. We're going to tell them that programming is secondary to a couple of things. And I want to rephrase this, our catchphrase is programming is secondary. How about this? You've got to get a couple of things right before programming matters.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, and I think it matters even more to the guy that's 10 weeks in than 3.
Okay, sure.
The thing that makes the biggest difference is consistency and form. That's it.
Yep.
More than anything else. It's this simple. Number 1, don't miss a workout. Ever.
Right. Broken bones and fevers. That's the only reason you can miss.
That's exactly right. And the interesting thing is now broken bones you can't do anything about, but for my guys like Father John Floater, who's never missed a workout, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Really, maybe never missed a workout. And even for guys like Brett McKay, you're not as busy as Brett McKay. You guys listen to this podcast. Like, that guy's busier than you are, right? Well, he is. He's busier than you are. He's running a massive business with almost no employees.
Right.
Like it's him and his wife and a handful of other people. That guy works his ass off. He puts out tons of content all the time. He doesn't sleep very much. His recovery is not great. Guy never misses a workout. Now, that doesn't mean that sometimes he has a workout scheduled on Thursday and he pushes it to Friday. That happens, right? So I don't care. What I mean is, in a week, he's got 4 workouts to do. He does 4 workouts every week.
Yep.
It is so rare that he misses a workout. And the few times he does, I mean, like the 3 times in the 3 years that I've coached him, he'll combine 2 workouts into one. So if he only can train 3 times, then he figures out he combines it and basically does a double workout in one day, which isn't optimal, but doing that, once a year is not any big deal. And so people who have had the best consistency make the best progress.
Right. So if somebody that's at home, I mean, that's easy to translate to action for yourself, right?
Right.
Do your 5s.
That's it.
Do your sessions. Don't miss.
Don't miss.
Stuff happens to us. We know that. We have deaths in the family and we have crazy business trips.
That's
but,
right.
I've taken those business trips and I go pay $10.
That's right.
And I go to open gym at a CrossFit box and I put all those big fat bumper plates on there and fill the bar up and squat. And they look at me like I'm a monster.
Yep.
And leave.
You drop the weight. You don't clear. I leave all the weight on the bar after the last rep. I throw it off my back like I'm a CrossFitter and let it just fall on the floor, and then I just walk out.
You find a way.
You find a way to train. You don't miss, right? If I think about my career as a coach and all the people I've trained in person, the exact same thing applies. Even Sybil at 82, you guys know Sybil. You've all heard from her. And when she doesn't travel and see the grandkids because she's 82, or when she's not on a cruise on the Queen Mary coming back from England, which she does sometimes. And when I'm not on business trips and she's able to train consistently, her progress is way better. And she's 82.
Yep.
So consistency is first. You just need to decide that this is more important than anything else. When it comes to my time, I've got to give 3 hours a week, and you give your 3 hours a week and you don't miss.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah. So, getting a training partner sure does help.
It absolutely. That accountability is huge. There are times, especially if you train at home or in a garage, and it is either January 15th and it's -4 in your garage, or it's August 15th and it's 104 in your garage.
Oh my God. Our Australian friends, Joel and Luke and those guys down there in Adelaide
They're
now.
dying right now.
It's 114 degrees the other day.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal.
And Luke's like, my groin hurts. I'm like, really? You're probably dehydrated. Like, you guys are getting started. I need to do IVs between sets. They're outside.
Yeah, so consistency is huge. And then the other one is form. And when we say form, what we mean is our clients who have been able to, coachable when it comes to form, do their best to listen to the cues that their coach give and make the appropriate changes. And that doesn't mean that they have the body awareness of an advanced athlete, right? So advanced lifters, often you can bark a couple words at them between rep 1 and rep 2 of their squats and they can fix it. I'm talking about normal people who it takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks to like really clean up their stuff. And then they get a little form creep come in and it takes another 2 or 3 workouts to fix it, but they fix it.
Right.
And anytime you could pull any of their videos from any time this year, and you could look at their 4 main lifts, the squat, the deadlift, the bench press, and the press, and they would all be within 95% of correct. When you combine good form, progressively better form, with consistency, progress comes. No matter what the program. The program is secondary. And this is so important. Now, here's the deal. You don't have to have a coach for consistency, but you need a coach for form.
Probably so.
You probably cannot do this on your own.
Yep.
Is it possible? Sure, we've seen it every once in a while. It's probably not you. Of the 1,000, more than 1,000 people we've had, I can think of 3 or 4 that on their test workout where they post their videos, you're like, damn, it's pretty good. Wish I had more to say. I mean, I've typed that once or twice where I say, hey, I wish I could type more because you're paying me to coach you, but these look really, really good. Hang on tight. Weight's going to get heavy soon. And when it does, the form's going to start breaking down, and then I'll start cleaning some stuff up.
One of the first few female clients, you know who I'm talking about probably, and she posted her workout, her test workout, had literally never squatted before. We're like,
these are good.
Like, should we give this lady her money back? Right. And then she quit.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. But that's
which means she didn't have the consistency.
shouldn't have the consistency.
Yeah. One of the cool things about consistency is the software that we use is that gives us completion or compliance ratings at 7 days, 30 days, and 90 days for each individual client. And it also gives us a combination of all of our clients, which is also really interesting. And the number one foretelling of someone leaving is a compliance rate under 80.
Right.
When they get a compliance in the 60s or 70s, and certainly if they're in the 40s or 50s, this is probably their last month. Like it's time, as soon as that you start seeing that number come down, it's time to make an intervention. It's time for a Skype call. It's time to really go like, hey, what do we got to do to like help you get back on the wagon and lock this down? We can't do 2 workouts a week when you're programmed for 3. We can't do 3 workouts a week when you're programmed for 4. So consistency is huge and form is huge. And the form, you've got to have a coach. Now, again, if you have a coach in your town or in your area, you should go see them in person. It's better than online coaching. Seeing a coach in person is better than online coaching.
Yep.
It's better, right?
Yep.
It's probably significantly more expensive. And you obviously, the downside is you have to connect with somebody on their time schedule and your time schedule. You have to make it work. But if you don't have a coach in your area, online coaching works really well because we have you video your lifts and then we break down your form every single day within 24 hours. And by the way, you can train at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or 11 p.m. or 2 in the morning, or in Australia when it's in the middle of the night here, or in Germany or whatever, right? And then your coach will break down your videos within 24 hours on their time. And so you don't have to actually line up when they break down your videos. And then all you have to do is spend 2 minutes reading through your coach's notes and applying those corrective cues to your next workout. I hope you're enjoying this episode in the technique series of the Barbell Logic podcast. You know, at Barbell Logic, we believe that barbell-based strength training is literally for everyone, and that the only thing holding most people back from all the incredible benefits that come from it is good technique and consistency, and we can help with that too. And whether you're just getting started or you've been lifting for a while, it's difficult to know if you're performing the lifts correctly or if there's anything you can do to make your lifting better. We have tons of free resources online, from basic how-to videos that'll get you lifting safely and efficiently right away, to podcasts, articles, and videos that will help you troubleshoot common errors. All you have to do is visit barbelllogic.com/technique to see our best technique-focused content in one place. And while you're at it, you can sign up for a consultation with a Barbell Logic coach. This is a free form check and a chance to ask an expert all your training-related questions. There's no reason you should be struggling to get started or to make progress. Check out barbelllogic.com/technique for more information and sign up for the Barbell Logic experience. Again, it's 100% free. There's nothing better for your training than knowing you're lifting safely, training efficiently, and on the right track. All right, let's get back to the show.
Yeah, I think that getting the form right will help you with consistency as well.
Sure.
When your form's right, you're garnering the most benefit you can from the sets you're doing. And when we're garnering that benefit, especially when you're an LP, it makes that next session so much easier. You know, if you're squatting high or your form's all jacked up, and man, it just gets harder and harder and harder. The work's always difficult, right? But it just becomes just brutal. If you got, I see this all the time. We'll get a new client and they're pulling with a round back.
Yep.
And it's just, it's just killing them. They can't keep the bar over their foot. And it's coming off their shin.
By the way, their question usually is like, hey, I'm starting to crap out on LP. What do I do with my programming? And they send you a video and you see their deadlift and they never set their back in the first place. You go, whoa, we're about to have a whole bunch of LP left because we're going to fix your form. Because your problem wasn't your programming. It was your form.
Right.
Which is huge. I had a guy that came out and saw me yesterday morning, who sent me a video on Thursday or Friday this week and said, here's the most recent video of my squats and deadlifts, just so you can see, so you know what you're working with when I get down there tomorrow. And he was squatting 6 inches high.
Right.
And the guy was like a diehard, had squats that looked correct, except he was 6 inches high.
Right.
And I said, the bad news is you're 6 inches high. The good news is we got a lot to fix and you got a lot of progress left to make.
First 11 inches of that squat's perfect.
Right. That's right. The reason I think that we have to do this podcast is that the bulk of internet fights in the strength world occur over programming.
Right.
And I'm not even saying that shouldn't occur, right? Like it's a fun thing to debate.
It's a red herring for somebody that should be doing LP.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And the problem, furthermore, is even for people who shouldn't be doing LP, even for people who are through LP, the program doesn't matter if the form is wrong and the consistency isn't there. That's all you have to understand. It doesn't matter with, like, obviously the program, the LP program matters when you're a novice. Like putting a little more weight on the bar every single time is obviously important, right? However, if you do LP and you squat 4 inches high, you're going to run out of LP fast. Right? If you do the lift strong, if you're doing your press and your wrists are bent and your shoulders backwards at the facing behind you, at the wall behind you, at the bottom of your press, you're going to run out. That's just all there is to it. If you're going to deadlift heavier and heavier and heavier with a more and more and more round or flexed back inflection, then you're going to run out of room quickly. And so in order to continue to make progress, we got to get the form right and we can't miss.
Right.
That's huge.
I got to go back to consistency. I can normally work with people and find a way to help them be consistent. I've got a guy that, by the way, he's in Northern England. He trains outside.
Oh, no, he's awesome. I have
seen him
we
squat.
can give a shout out, right, Sean?
Yeah, Sean Richardson.
Sean Richardson is awesome.
I love that guy so much. He's just a Saxon savage.
Yeah.
Like I have seen him squat in the snow.
Yeah.
In the rain.
Yep.
He said,
yeah, it's like in a little breezeway. It's like a little kind of breezeway. It's like surrounded by a privacy fence, right? It's just this little bitty, like,
just in the corner of his backyard.
8. Yeah.
His back garden, he calls it.
Okay.
And we did a Skype call. He said, I'm just not as devoted as you are. And I was like, Sean, I wouldn't do it if I was in those conditions. I wouldn't do it. He will go outside. But he said, I'm going to do a course of study this fall, and I need to shorten my training sessions. So we talked about what his schedule would look like. So we had him do 1 lift a day. So he had 4 sessions a week, and he just did 1 lift a day. And so he was able to.
By the way, this is kind of an older, middle-aged guy, right?
Yeah, he's 46, something like that.
Right. Not a 22-year-old kid.
Nope. And and he just didn't have the time. And when Sean Richardson says he doesn't have the time, you can bet your ass he didn't have the time to do it.
That's right.
And so we put him on 1 lift a day. And he got some deadlift PRs, and we maintained everything else.
Yep. So
when those studies were over, it was just back off to the races.
Yep.
He didn't detrain. In fact, we had some PRs of the deadlift. It worked very well. I have also had particular men in that demographic that are traveling, and I can normally get progress and PRs out of those guys on 2-day-a-week sessions, and they're doing all the lifts each day.
Yep.
And they can make progress like that for months.
Yeah, I've seen
those guys.
Sure.
And so we can normally, if you communicate, we can normally find a way to help you be consistent. So sometimes the consistency doesn't yield progress, right? Like in Sean's case, he's doing 1 lift a day, but what he darn sure didn't do was detrain.
Right.
That's a huge win.
Yep.
If he essentially took the entire fall off, and at his age, had he actually taken that fall completely out,
massive detraining,
he would have lost 25% on his lifts or something like that. So, that consistency, he essentially treaded water, but that's a big deal. That saved him 6 months.
Yes,
hard fought gains.
Yeah, it comes down to habits. The guys, they develop habits, right? The habit is he trains. And so when you develop the habit, this is what I do, even when I don't feel good, even when I have a cold, even when I have a fight with my wife, or I don't sleep the night before, or I've got a new baby at home who's colicky and doesn't sleep, or doesn't matter, we train.
That's right.
We have to be consistent. And when we're consistent and we have good form and our form improves from session to session in a general linear progression, we will make progress better than anyone else, regardless of the program. Now, that doesn't mean throw the programs out, like baby with the bathwater sort of thing. Like the program still matters, but the programming is secondary to those things. And so if you're one of these guys, especially one of these guys who are getting towards the end of LP, and you're starting to really grind on LP, and you think, man, I just have another week or 2 left of LP. And the majority of your time is thinking about what is the next program to go to. You're asking the wrong question. You better make sure your form is okay first. And by the way, it's probably not. Everybody thinks it is.
Right.
Go hire a coach for an in-person session, like drive, you got to drive 2, 3, 4 hours and get your form checked and make sure your form is the way it needs to be. I would tell you you should video yourself.
Yep.
And then you've got to be able to put your emotions on the back burner and disconnect from the fact that that's actually you and watch the video and then go like, does my squat look like that? And if it does, you're probably pretty close. And if you're like, whoa, that's way off, then you're not, right? That's it.
Well, that's enough. Stay consistent, guys. Let's go get some form checks. Don't necessarily need to use us, but you got to go get those form checks. Do it for yourself. It's a big gift you can give yourself. So if you get the consistency, you get the form right, the sport's more fun.
That's right.
You make progress. You're rewarded for your efforts more rapidly. You're less injury prone. It just makes it better for you. Don't do it for me. You got to do all this stuff for you. You can follow Reynolds at Reynolds Strong on Instagram, and I'm at Scott_Silverstrength there too. So thanks so much for listening. Go give us some reviews. Please subscribe. If you're an occasional listener, man, go hit that subscribe button and tell a friend about us. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.